Welcome to today's webinar. We're going to be talking about templates and how they can help streamline your estimates. And I'm very excited to have our own Josh Walker, who is one of our sales engineers at Beck Technology, is going to walk us through this functionality. And Josh, take it away.
What we'll do this morning is we will go over templates. We'll touch on two primary templates that we see our clients use and go over the benefits of using those. So where we're starting our time this morning, normally when we launch Estimator, we'll be on our Recents tab. We're going to start on our templates. We're going to go over two templates this morning. The first template that we'll go over is our standard template. And then this is a template also that we'd see lots of our customers have something similar. It would be a general project template. We'll start there, go over some powerful functions that we have within our templates. Then we'll go over a little bit more specialized template to wrap up our time together today. So where we see the vast majority of our clients start when they're using their templates is the project tab. So the project tab is going to be one of two Excel integrations that we have inside of the product. And really, as we think of the value and the power of the project tab, it's going to help us consistently capture information about our projects. So this can be customized to you. The project tab is really used primarily to help us capture information for historical data. So these properties can be customized to you, the values and the properties can be customized to you as well, and they can have the ability to be used as filters in Power BI. So common things that we see our clients use here is they're going to run kind of a major and a minor cost category or project category for their projects. So here we have a commercial project, and we'll say, we're building an office for our time together, or medical office for our time together today. So goal number one, be able to easily group our projects together. And then goal number two is to capture key metrics about those projects. So it can be as simple as things like gross square footage, and also capture site area, things that will help you, further narrow down within those categories we created up above. So we say medical office buildings between 250 and 500,000 square feet. And then things that we want to see cost per an item, cost per key, cost per runnable square footage. So it allows us to easily capture that information. So we already have the values that we want our people to use, and it's consistent so that our cost history is very easy to use and consume. The second thing, as we think of templates and consistency and the power that they will provide us, is our fee table. So fees are template specific. So each template that you have can have its own fee table. You can have as many fees inside of the fee table as you need. So we have some groups that are probably 15 fee range. We also have groups that are over 50, so where you can have as many fees here as you need. Another thing, if there's somewhere between, let's say, hey, you have 15 fees in your fee table, but there's 12 we know we're going to use every project, and the other 3 we may or may not need, depending on the project. You have the ability to have a fee, but not have it turned on. So if we uncheck our checkbox, that fee will not calculate. We can turn it on just as easily as we turn it off. So this allows us to know what fees are in there each time. Also, they'll be in a consistent way, so if we need to make any edits, we easily know where to go. For our next section, we'll go over our filter tree. We'll also touch on our estimate layouts. So those will control the columns that we see about our line items, and also what part of our estimate that we're choosing to view. So to do that, we'll add in a few line items. We'll kind of group add some line items for our time together this morning. So as we've added those in, estimate layouts are the columns that we see about our estimate. And benefit here is we are a team estimating environment. We can have as many users as we want. And we could all be looking at the estimate through different estimate layouts. Somebody could be reviewing, somebody could be looking at the self-perform section, at completely different levels of detail, and will show correctly to each user. At a high level, an estimate layout is the columns that we want to see. So as you're going through the implementation process, implementation team will help you set up those layouts. You have the ability to save those by clicking that green plus sign. And the benefit of our template is we can easily switch between them. So if we prefer to see our estimate by more of a master format structure, we can do that and then easily navigate down to the subfolders to see the line items that are contained underneath. And if we prefer more of a uniformat structure, we can easily switch and see our estimate from that perspective. So the goal of our estimate layouts are for comfort and to make sure that you have the columns that you need to work on a specific section of your estimate. Using templates will ensure that those views are always there for you and always in a consistent way. Our filter tree has the same ability, but it's going to use our WBS properties, but it's going to control what part of the estimate that we see. So as we're looking at a master format, when we're a master format up here, we're going to be looking at things from a 48 divisional breakdown. As we click on a particular section, we'll just see the line items that are controlled within that section. So as we work our way down, we can look at just our structural precast, our concrete specialties, or any part of our estimate that we wanted to see. And we have the ability here, just like we did with our estimate layouts, to easily switch between different parts of our estimate and control part of the estimate that we're seeing by any WBS property that we choose. Our next section that we'll cover is highlight rules. Highlight rules are what are controlling the colors that we see over on our left-hand side. They're to bring our eye to whatever piece of information we'd like to review for our estimate if it is true. So a highlight rule allows us to have a property name, so we can select any of our columns within inside of Estimator. We're able to say what value we want it to be equal to, and we're able to specify that value and the color that we'd like it to highlight. So here we're highlighting in orange if the quantity is 0, and our second rule says if our total cost is 0, highlight that in red. So as we go back and look at our estimate, all of our line items currently have no quantities, so they're all orange. A line item will highlight the color of the first rule that it matches. So if we go in and give a line item a quantity, it will switch from orange to red because it now has no cost, but it does have a quantity. If we give it a unit cost, it won't highlight at all. But if we go back and zero out that quantity, it'll highlight orange. So our highlight rules are always looking and evaluating our estimate. The last piece that we commonly see clients use in these types of templates are dashboards. So dashboards are those Excel summary level reports, and they allow us to easily have those loaded in so users don't have to go find them each time. So for a quick overview, as we think of our templates, they allow us to have consistent historical properties, standard fees, standard ways to view our estimate and filter, and also our dashboards. The other way that templates can be used is for conceptual estimates. So we'll briefly go over an example warehouse. So for a more detailed template, there will be a couple differences in this template and then the one that we just went over. So as we open an estimate from this template, two things that we'll notice about this estimate. The first, whereas the template that we began with didn't have any line items in it, this template will begin with line items, and we'll use our project tab just slightly differently than we did before. So as we begin from this template is containing line items, and those line items have formulas, total building area, but they'll have a quantity of 0 currently. We have a $0 direct cost for our estimate. In this particular template, we've set this up for a particular market sector. We see our clients use these when they're building probably 3 or 4 or more conceptual estimates within a particular market sector each year. This is an example of a warehouse. So now for our project tab, we're using it to calculate the quantities of our line items. So we'll set up a questionnaire. We see those questionnaires be from really anything that is could be 10 to 15 questions if we're thinking of an area study or kind of a mixed use project at a very high level, or it can be more detailed as we have here, to where the user's prompted for approximately 50 to 60 questions as they're working their way through. As we've gone through and made entries to our project, so now we've calculated gross square footage. That cell is linked to the property total building area. And then anywhere that total building area was used now has the quantity 56,000, or that 56,000 was used inside of its formula calculation. And then quantity, times our unit price is what's driving the cost of our estimates. So as we were to make that adjustment, we're at 964,000 for this particular estimate. As we go through and continue to fill out an estimate from this type of template, additional costs could be turned on. We can also have the ability to make selections in this if we need to as well, or we could say we do need a particular slab on grade for this type of project, and that will add in those costs to our estimate. So as we see these types of templates and their benefits, it allows a consistent questionnaire. So as a more senior person comes in to review that estimate, they know the order of the questions are going to be, and they also know the line items that they're tied to. As a more junior person to fill that information out, progress that conceptual estimate a good distance, and then have it easily reviewed by a more senior team member. Last piece for me today, before I open it up to questions, is inside of the BECTEC training portal. If you go in and search for templates, there is a micro learning on estimate templates, which will cover a large portion of the information that I went over this morning. Julie, what questions can I answer?
Great job as usual, Josh. So I did have a question that came in asking, when is it recommended to use templates versus assemblies?
So templates will give us the benefits of a couple of things. Templates will allow us to have project tabs. They're more of a whole project setup. We'll be capturing project level information, fees. We'll have our dashboards. So they do a great job at ensuring kind of a whole estimate lifecycle. We see assemblies. Normally see assemblies address a specific scope of work. So whether that's concrete, whether that's the room finish or our drywall. So normally an assembly is more of a scope specific piece that would live within an estimate created from a template.